Guess who's back? Guess who's back at high tier and bringing some balance? Is it already Christmas for helicopters? Oh, yes, it is. I'm a good doctor. I'm an awesome doctor, in fact, because I can heal cancer from more than 4 kilometers away. Am I not the most awesome guy that there is in my automatic, which is balanced? Well, let me get straight, let me get serious here. Yeah, I love the automatic because it just reflects high tier in its perfection. It's nothing but high tier Call of Duty. The game mechanics have never been adapted to it. And additional to the APF SSSS, they spawn onto gun breaches or whatever, in this case also with a up to 12 rounds with a 0.5 second delay between the shells. That's just balanced, you know. Don't take it serious. It was sarcasm, by the way, because, you know, I have to point this out because internet and such. Okay, so I got now the automatic again from Gaijin. Thank you, because I backed them quite a bit. And yeah, sad flutes intensify for the Americans. So, today I want not to talk about the glory of the automatic. I did a tank review, I did a first impression, which is the most viewed video on my channel by quite a bit, and I also did a monstrous 30-minute kill compilation in where I show how to balance helicopters up to 4.4 kilometers. But now let's do something different. Let's talk about helicopters, and let's talk about in defense of helicopters. Let's not blame the helicopters as a vehicle class, but let's blame again the one and only Gaijin for implementing it the way that they did. And when you think about it, it could have been done better. It could have been done significantly better. To put it in a nutshell, again, helicopters were rushed. Helicopters were half-assed with their flight models and also with the game modes that they can play, where they can just enjoy themselves. Let's start at the very start with both the question, how do you get your first helicopter, and then also what the chances were of having fun. So let's begin right there. So the first helicopter, and I take here the American AH-1G as an example, the first helicopter that you get, you either need to have either a rank 5 tank or a rank 5 plane for that, or you buy yourself the helicopter first. And so it was always a question of money for a new player. For seasoned veterans that played for years, you know, it's not something that you really think about it. And so the first helicopter was unlocked, but it was not purchased, so you had to buy it. And yeah, that was quite expensive as well. So, you know, it starts at 8.0, helicopters ain't cheap. But the problem is that in the beginning there were only 2 game modes available, 3 game modes. The first one was arcade helicopter mode, and the second one was realistic helicopter game mode in the event tab. So the realistic one is now gone. I don't know why. Maybe it gets reworked, maybe the player base is gone. However, there are some people out there that play excessively, at least the arcade one, with the lead one having earned 44.4 million silver lines with it, according to the leaderboard, which is quite a lot. And the third option was obviously Tank RB. And in Tank RB, well, you had the genius option to spawn with a helicopter from the very start. And that created a very interesting scenario, which I can recall from my own experience. Following helicopter spam annoyed 3 kinds of people. The first one was the enemy team if they didn't have an SPA. And they were just kind of in a problematic spot, because if you were not an American team member, then yeah, there was no counter helicopter, so it again was it was imbalanced from the sheer fact that you couldn't spawn a helicopter. And yeah, the previously mentioned AH-1G could meet tier's rank, or yeah, battle rating 7.0 tanks, What a fun experience it was for the Tiger 2105 or the Jagdtiger or the Mouse to get spammed with heat rockets. Yeah, much fun. Just to name here one example that you can visualize for yourself. Um, and then when there was an enemy SPA, let's say a German Gepard, he just could farm all the helicopters because they didn't have any sort of ATGMs to deal with the SPA from long range. So then, with the spawn point system in the beginning, it was that the helicopters spawned from the very start and then died. And they didn't have any sort of spawn points left in order to go back into battle, even in a low tier SPA. They were just simply dead. And when half your team consisted of helicopters and you were just in an Abrams trying to make the game, trying to play the game, trying to win the game, then you were just outnumbered 2-1 from the start. And that happened more than once. Now, since then, the helicopter spam has been reduced by natural selection, I guess. So it was not fun for the helicopters, it was not fun for the American tankers, which then found themselves in a very disadvantageous tactical position. But it also was not fun for then the enemy team, because when, from my experience, I can recall, when I was not in an SPA spawning right from the start, or lo and behold, the automatic, I spawned in, let's say, the M60 A1 DC Ariete, which a lot of people bought in order to grind the Italian tech tree for getting to the Centauros or the other tanks or the automatic in this case, and they just had to face helicopters multiple times, and despite having heavy machine guns, they got very often spammed. And then in the Centauro Roma, there was just nothing that you could do when a helicopter was hovering around. Your game was done. You were hull broken in some other tanks as well right from the start with a single rocket hit, and that was just not fun. So all three sides, or four sides if you include the SPA side, did not really have all that much fun. Now for the SPA, there was one inherent problem, was that the basic principle of the rock paper scissors system was broken when it came to the higher tier helicopters that just spawned when they had acquired enough spawn points in their tanks or Rush B successfully, and they just simply spawned, pressed hover, and then happily spammed their ATGMs away, landed, rinse and repeat. And that from up to 5, 6, 7 kilometers away, I don't even remember it, and there was just nothing that you could do. In particular, after Gaijin has changed the spawn point system. Yes, because in the start, obviously helicopters were at a disadvantage, and the counters actually were flying around much more, namely planes. So Gaijin, in all their eternal wisdom, then changed immediately the spawn point system, because it was not a question of if their data tells them, but they just saw it. They just saw the uproar in the comments and on Reddit probably, and then they reduced the spawn point costs for helicopters, raised them a little bit with the ATGMs, but I think they doubled then the spawn point costs for planes, and then also reduced the spawn point cost for tanks, which at first glance was a good thing, but when then a helicopter was there with up to 16 ATGMs, well, it was nothing but a case of, yeah, we present you now more gun food. So you can see I was not really pleased with this change, and it made not a lot of sense, and it was just a rushed implementation. It was half-assed. It was again a case of, yeah, we'll fix this later, and they have not fixed this up until this point. And now we come to the interesting part with the new patch, because the new patch will bring some changes, and those are changes to the radar system. And from what I've read on the dev blog and heard from other people that I trust, it seems to be a change in a good direction, but I want to see it myself first before I make here any sort of comment. And this is your typical Abrams tanker, or your XM1 tanker. He didn't see me despite my rotating thingy, and I just could set him on fire on the engine with even the low penetrating APHE shell. So, with the pure fact that you have no alternative other than pure helicopter arcade game mode, where I can really understand people not wanting to play this. I don't know the game mechanics, I don't know the income, I don't know the repair cost, etc. But I understand that people don't like to play arcade. I myself wouldn't have a problem with arcade. I myself have a problem with the, well, helicopters themselves, how they are implemented, and how boring they are to play. Especially, again, if you go into then the previously existing realistic game mode, which now has disappeared. I can recall that I was there with my early helicopter, even stock, and I tried to go for the ground units, and then suddenly out of nowhere an ATGM hit me. I didn't hear the ATGM, I didn't see the ATGM because it came out of the sun, I didn't see the enemy helicopter because he was hiding behind a hill, and yeah, I was nothing but gun food. And so the only option was then tank RB, and in tank RB I previously now talked about excessively the problems that are there, where then every side got annoyed by it. So, epic loss for everybody. Good job, Gaijin. Well done. And yeah, it's quite literally Gaijin's job to make this work, to balance this, and to, yeah, make it a worthy, yeah, type of vehicles. But it isn't, and that's my problem with it. So, now we are here at the state. We will see some changes to the ranges of ATGMs in the next patch from helicopters, which is a good thing, so that they can't hover up to all eternities and just spam their ATGMs, so that they actually have to play with WASD and other key bindings that are necessary to get into position. And still then they can park right above the battlefield and just splash enemy tanks through the rooftop. But I digress. The radar changes are coming, and why not like this from the beginning, Gaijin? Where is your quality management? Where is your quality control? Where are the people playing the game for you, reporting the stuff to you that it doesn't work? You should invite and pay people for trying to abuse the game, then take their reports and try to fix the game. But you don't do this. You just add stuff, and we are left with frustration. Frustration, and even more frustration. And yeah, I cannot... There you can see him in his AH-1Z, or Z, whatever. And I only have 2 proximity fuse shells left, and they destroy at 4.5 kilometers. And again, I don't have the custom sight. So there is now the ATGM coming, I see it, but it doesn't go for me. He's right at the edge of the range, and I'm not quite sure if I should even try it. How to fix this mess and go beyond the upcoming changes? Well, first of all, we need a helicopter realistic battle only game mode, and also why not go a step further and make an enduring confrontation with tanks on a epic big map. Gaijin had the chance in the past, Gaijin had all the opportunities, and they just wasted it with the enduring confrontation. We have not heard anything from the World War mode as well, and it's just sad. It's really sad to see the game just throwing away their opportunities, whereas then Wargaming with their World of Tanks title that people have said being dead when War Thunder introduced tanks. Yeah, where are we now? They introduced the frontline mode, and it's not bad from what I've seen. And yeah, I played World of Tanks long enough that I can judge this. There might be problems as well, but holy hell, the way War Thunder has messed this up, it's just beyond epic. Like, if they tried on purpose. And now there is the ATGM coming my way, and I barely dodged it. So I'm now pinned down. I have no ammunition. I really can't refill here. And yeah, I tried to get into cover here. I only have 16 APHE shells left. With the long range inaccuracy of the gun, a direct hit, whereas now he is definitely out of range. Nothing that I can do. And I'm just left here, and he's just farming the tanks left, right, and center. Just destroyed one of my allied tanks on the bridge. And despite having shot down 4 helicopters, 1 plane, and shot down 2 tanks, It's not good enough. One enemy player is now dominating the game. And that is not fun. This is not right. And every player that I've met said that this is broken. There are people that admit that it's broken, but they still enjoy them and just farm with their helicopters that they either bought into. And now he launches another ATGM. I try to get into cover. Come on, can I make it? Now I hear a tank to the other side. Yeah. Oh, that's bad. And the ATGM just goes through the house and still hits me because I was not perfectly in cover. And yeah, there is nothing that I can do. Oh, many problems, not a lot of solutions to it, and it took Gaijin way too long to do anything about it. But with making it more attractive to the high tier helicopters or to the 9.0, 10.0 helicopters, they were quite quick about it because they earned money from, you know, the packages when they sold them. And this is a never-ending circle, is it? So this is now my point of defense for helicopters, that they have quite a lot of problems, that they have really not that many alternatives. And again, it's sadly only Gaijin to blame. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to blame Gaijin, I just want to enjoy the game. But entire battle ratings are just absolutely unfun and big mess, and you come across the problems game after game after game. That is my problem. This is why I make this video, in the small hope of that something gets changed. Maybe I could do it better, but it's not my job. I want to advertise War Thunder to players. I want to bring the fun to the game and just show what's possible. But if you get bullshitted every second game or every game at a certain battle ratings, yeah, at some point you just make the rant videos. So that finally brings me to the end of the video, and if you agree with me, if you like the commentary, if you thought that the thoughts of mine and the commentary is interesting, why not give the video a like so I see that you agree. If you disagree, you can also press the dislike button, but never forget to let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Again, it's a hot topic. I expect quite a lot of commentary or comments rather in the comment section, but please keep it civilized and come up with solutions rather than only ranting about it. And that's it for me today. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Again, give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.